Hey, it's Kim.
Hey, it's Corey.
And we're here to talk about a few different things today. Yeah, we're going to start off with, I guess it could be a little depressing, but we really deal with power of attorney and estates quite often. And as realtors, sometimes we're almost counselors in a way because we're dealing with the family and different things that can come up while you're an executor.
It's not a situation that most people want to be in either,
no,
right? So
no,
it's
and
tough.
some people don't even know they're the executor until it's fallen into their lap, right? Yeah, and so we've had a recent situation where one of our clients, he actually volunteered to be an executor, which before you say yes to be an executor, make sure you do your homework because it's definitely not, it depends really on the estate. But sometimes it can be way more work and investment. You have to put some money in yourself before everything's divvied up at the end. But in this situation, it was a hoarder situation. And for probably 4 months, he had to deal with emptying the house, paying people to get it out, paying junk people, dealing with infestations of mice. Also dealing with appraisals of different items that he has no clue how much they're worth, and the probate can't happen until all of that's done, right?
Well, and how do you really know how any of these things are worth anymore, right? Like,
right.
It's you want to find a value of a garage sale, for example. You go there, you just don't know, right? So like, there's so many like if factors.
You did find a cool app though that
the Google Lens.
I've been testing that out a little bit. It's pretty cool.
If you haven't, download Google Lens. Honestly, all you do is just open up your camera, hold it up to an image, whether it's...
and it's Lens.
Lens. Yeah. It'll give you information if you want to translate something from a different language to English. It's fantastic. Sorry, I got sidetracked, but it's really cool.
That was really cool. So, yeah, he was using that a little bit. But, so that situation there has become very complicated and lengthy. And... our client's 70, I think early 70s, you know what I mean? So that can become very time-consuming.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want to deal with.
Right. And there's a new thing that just came about. We were just looking into it, the flipper tax.
Oh, the anti-flip tax. I've got my opinions on that. I guess in kind of layman's terms, when you're selling your house, especially a secondary property, you're subject to capital gains tax, which is about 50%. This new anti-flipping tax basically makes any gains on that taxable as a business income at 100% for any properties that were bought and sold within a 1 year timeline.
Right.
There's some loopholes with primary residence that this is ideally made to close that loophole. Good step, I guess. I don't think it's going to make an actual change. I don't know what your opinion's on, but like, to me, I think that's almost a Band-Aid to like a much bigger issue.
Yeah. So
the way that I'm kind of looking at it, and we've had this conversation before, is I don't think flipping is a bad thing. I know some people say that, like the flippers are... Now, there's bad flippers out there, and ones that had no business flipping a house and have just made it worse off, have made it dangerous, and have not made it safe to live in. Those, 100%, those I disagree with. But there are ones out there that do good quality work that rehabilitate a house that otherwise may have been falling apart. And you know what? Having that house still on the market for someone to eventually live in is a bonus.
Yeah.
So I don't think the flippers are going after them is really going to make that big of a difference. One of the things that I've noticed in the past little bit, and we talked about this too before, is the amount of new landlords in the market. Like, it blows my mind these last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, just in the last probably 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
The amount of rentals. Mind you, if people can't sell their house, they may have to consider renting it. So that's probably one of the big things that's happening right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as landlords, what do you think they're doing right now? You have your...
So the way I look at it, like even just going back, we go back 10 years ago, like there were 4.1 million renters in Canada. Fast forward 10 years, that's already 5 million renters in Canada over a less than 10-year period of time. So the way that I'm looking at it right now, there are restrictions put in place. For example, the 2.5% increase on rent that prevents.
Which every year they put out the set rate, and you can increase your rent by that much.
Exactly,
and that's been around for a while.
Yeah, and it was a little bit lower during the pandemic to take care of that.
Yeah.
Now, so you can't increase someone's rent. So what? But there's nothing preventing these people from getting rid of those properties, unloading them, going out, buying a vacant property,
right, and
then charging whatever rent they want.
Right.
These are the kind of things that I think are keeping people out of houses. Yes, it's everyone's has the right to use housing as maybe an income source, but when we're in points of crises like we are right now, where we have people just on the streets, we need to find out a better solution. We got to find a way to find a balancing act right now, and I think we're just attacking all the wrong points.
I wonder if there are areas or cities in Canada that have like a cap for. I mean, you could say, okay, this 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in this square footage, in this shape, this would be a cap on the rent. Like, I mean, I wonder if that's ever been a thing.
Well, we could get into non-market housing, which we'll save that for another day. But essentially, with non-market housing, these things come out, condo buildings come out, and they're about the same rent as any other building out there.
Right. So let's say I purchased this. A lot of times it's nonprofit.
Yeah.
Charity organization. Yeah. I'll buy a building.
Yeah.
Right? And the similar building is across the street.
Yeah.
When they start out, they're similar rent, right?
Exactly. But over time, that for-profit entity is going to keep increasing rent, while that nonprofit is just making enough so that the business runs, everyone's taken care of. Now, over time, if you have more of these non-market housing options, the for-profit ones need to compete.
Right.
They can't just charge whatever they want because at the end of the day,
if you have enough of them. If you have one single one downtown.
Yeah. So right now in Canada, I think only about 5% of our market of our housing is non-market.
Okay.
If you look at countries like, if you want to check it online, I believe it's Vienna, Austria, where they're up to about 60%.
That's crazy.
It's
right, but it keeps the rents down.
Keeps the rents down.
Things fair.
Yep, and everyone has a say in how these properties are built, how it's going to affect the neighborhood, where they're being built. So it's a whole community project.
Right.
So things like that, I think, are the type of solutions we need, but I don't think we're focusing on them enough.
Right.
So, but I can rant on this for hours, which I won't do.
Yeah. So back to, the property that, the executors, getting all the hoarding stuff and all that stuff out. That would be attractive to flippers, but I don't know. This one might take longer than a year. That's the thing. So if it does take longer than a year, they only pay tax on 50% of the net gain.
Yeah. So, and then that's where it's kind of like, are we, for a situation like this, why are we kind of attacking the one that's going to rehabilitate this building?
Right.
Like, yes, they're going to make a profit, but they're being profited for labor. They're doing work. They're investing their money. So they should be able to. Then we get into arguments of manual labor versus passive income, and that's a whole other topic, which we'll save for another day. But I do think that it's a step in the right direction. I just don't think it's going to be enough to actually do anything.
Well, we'll see in a few years down the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's good that we are making steps to actually try and address the issue. It's just, is it too little, too late? I think we are going to hit it eventually. I think we're finally in that phase where things are going to start getting better.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Okay. Well, in the next little while, we're going to start talking more about estates, power of attorney, what that all entails, and probate. A lot of people have these questions. I've had a lot of friends in the past, actually, because I just turned 53. But a lot of my friends have had parents, and you said your grandparents, one of your grandma, where they're in a situation where they have to go into a nursing home or a rest home, retirement home. Like, what are the differences?
Yep.
Someone has to take over and do the power of attorney. What does that look like?
Yep.
We're going to talk to some lawyers. We're going to talk to people that help kind of take a house that someone's been in 50, 60 years and try to help get that stuff out of there. There's so many different factors when you have to look at helping your parents move and make that transition. It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And none of us are taught this stuff. Like,
No.
so like even the first time I came across like probate or executors, it was like, I've never,
I have no idea.
first time I've heard of this.
Exactly. And so a lot of my friends, first time it's ever happened, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. I had no idea. And so we're just trying to educate you, and we're going to do some more digging. We're going to talk to a lawyer, maybe have them on, and give people some more insight on that.
Yeah.
That difficult part of life.
Absolutely. The more education, the better, though.
Yeah,
so that's
for sure.
where we're going to strive towards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, we'll see you next time.
Bye.